here, right? Okay. Send more chain letters. Yeah, what happened with that post office thing where they were trying to say that, like, you had to give Trump all your voters' names or else the post office wouldn't deliver the ballots for you? It's like Kyle says this all the time, but, like, the corruption is so extreme. Yo, look at this. Dude, this is my guy.
You sit there and you thump your tall mud, go to your little island, prey on the working
People
class.
said AI is no good,
get
man.
You anywhere.
Look at this.
Talk about your Shabbat Shaloms. Talk about Zion 316. Stalin 316 said, I just purged your ass.
That's sick.
You sit there and you thump your tall mud, go to your little island.
Bruh. I need this video so I can make a gif of it. What do you think Stalin would be like now? Like, do you think he would be online, like, arguing with Maddie Iglesias? Or do you think he would be, like, you know, ripping and riding?
J.D. Vance just said in an interview that he thinks you are going to be the leading Democratic candidate for president in 2028. What's your response to that?
I mean,
That's crazy. That's crazy. Why are you cheesing like that? That's crazy.
This is what I was talking to Tony earlier.
That's actually crazy. You might as well...
Tony called earlier to ask if I had been following all the primaries this week, and I was like, yeah, of course I was. And then he was like, oh, well, AOC is going to run for president. I was like, oh, man, she's going to be like Liz Warren. I tell you already.
Yeah, I am. That's
she's going to be this year's
AOC.
Liz Warren.
That is wild. That's all but a confirmation.
Like,
that's more than a confirmation.
The fact that, like, the way that, like, Vance and them are talking about her, they want her to be the contestant. They want to go against her, right? They do not want to go against fucking Khanna. Ro Khanna.
I'd trust her word less if she said yes rather than smile like this.
That's what I'm saying.
you know,
They want her, man.
I hope he is. That's what I'll say.
This has nothing to do with, like, her politically, but tactically, like, I don't think she's the best candidate. I think she should fucking take Schumer's seat, right? And let us have fucking Ro Khanna versus Gavin Newsom in the primary. Because I don't know what the centrists are going to do yet. Like, in 2016, they were able to clear the field, so they had just Hillary, and Hillary versus Bernie, basically, and Martin O'Malley. But, like, are they going to do that this time? Like, what's the better path for them? So I'm saying, she doesn't have the fight in her, and, like, I think her instincts are bad. I don't think that, like, the way she responds to things off the cuff, I don't think it's good. Like, I just think that, like, she has to think about it too much, and then she's like, the strategy she ultimately decides on is not the good one, I don't think, you know? Like, I'm not saying that, like, her politics are somehow inferior to Khanna's, because they're pretty similar, all things considered, but, like, I just think he's got a better chance of winning. I think that she might lose. Her instincts are trash, and she has to fire every non-DSA. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem. You can't do this middle road thing. You need to go all in with the left, or fucking don't bother, right? Because, like, I don't know, that Colorado election, that lady we were looking at, this is one of the things Tony brought up too, and he's right. The lady who was, like, kind of wishy-washy, like, used to be DSA, no longer DSA, and was kind of, didn't know where she stood. She was using all kinds of consultant speak. She lost, right? The people who were, like, just hardcore, you know, DSA cadre members who were, like, you know, people knocking doors for them and making phone banking and all for them, they won. The people who are trying to do this middle of the road shit don't win. You know, like Liz Warren, right? I think that shit's not going to work. You're not going to have all the volunteers, and you're not going to have any fucking, you know, fully committed. So maybe you'll have some, I guess, right? But not any that represent like large constituencies. You know, I think, again, it's not me saying that Ro Khanna's got better politics, but it's me saying I think he's a better, more electable politician. Especially if he's going against these chuds, you know. She called it a genocide like a year before Ro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is not me commenting on her politics, right? Because I think if she did run... Look, I also think if she did run, she would probably not get DSA's endorsement. She would probably not bother doing it, right? For some fucking misguided reason. And then she wouldn't have their support. She wouldn't have their volunteers. And she wouldn't have them pushing her platform. Because if you get DSA's endorsement, you have to have these basic fucking sign-off on their platform. You know? The result of the DSA presidential survey? Did they have that already? I didn't vote in it if they did. But yeah, I think, you know, he was saying it would be a big deal if like politicians were competing to get DSA's endorsement, which would be pretty funny. But I don't think they do it like that. Like, it's not like a one or the other thing. It's like you qualify for it and you can have it, right? So it's not like they choose only one. They might, I think they choose multiple in some races. But yeah, no, if, I just think, like, if she were to clean house and get all of those, like, ex-Kamala people out of there, right? And then, yeah, like, hire fucking Zoran's campaign manager and, you know, whoever. Like, that guy, that Morris Katz guy, he knows what he's doing, man. He knows what he's talking about. He's oh yeah, I want to look at that. Is this the, Jonathan Chait article? No, what? One of their own is on the presidential primary debate stage. DSA represents as a real contrast to Democrats who have run the last couple of elections on fear. DSA national co-chair Megan Romer said, "You can't run on that. You have to offer an alternative. And it's really important that we be involved in that conversation in 2028. It's important that we have somebody saying sensible things." Their search process is already underway. This summer, DSA is dispatching surveys to all 250 chapters, asking members to weigh who they want to back and why. And return their findings, but national leadership... Okay, so I haven't gotten the email yet. Return their findings that details the group first shared with Politico. Is that true? They shared the details with you first? Really? That's the other thing, man. There's people who, like, should not be talking to the media, and then they do, right? No, I listened to some of Zhang, though. It was during the game, which I don't know why he did that. He's like one of those guys who's like, oh, like, I'm like aggressively anti-sports. Like, sort of like a Reddit atheist for sports, you know? Date article? Okay. I mean, I didn't listen to, like, I heard parts of it, but I was watching the game, so I, like, kind of wasn't paying close attention to all of it. But, like, you know, I heard some stuff that was okay. Like, just the fact that he can go on with Hassan and say all that wild fucking anti-Semitic shit, and then, like, nobody calls him an anti-Semite, but then, like, Zoran can say stop killing babies, and there's, like, a whole fucking news cycle about how anti-Semitic he is. That's kind of a tell, right? Because he's got a huge he's got tons of views, right? He's got a big platform. People watch his shit. He's, I guess influential might not be the right word, but he's definitely, like, a popular YouTuber. If he was genuinely spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and they were concerned about it, you'd think the ADL would be all over his ass. I hate this cool thing that brings people joy, so it's whack, actually. Yeah, exactly. I hate that. So I'm trying to explain that mentality to the kids, too. Because, like, the kids are, like, they're, like, angsty, like, rock kids, Like, they're, like, oh, we're cool, we wear, like, fucking ripped up jeans and play guitar, we don't play sports. And I'm like, no. That's not it, right? The thing is to be a person who can play sports and does sometimes, but, like, they don't make it their personality, and they're, like, casual sporting people, because they there's benefits from playing sports that are hard to replicate elsewhere. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's good exercise, it's good teamwork, it's good socializing, like, it's good for a number of reasons. And then, like I said, don't make it your personality, right? Don't make it your thing, like, oh, I'm, like, a sporty guy, like, I have, like, fucking little soccer balls on my socks. Like, that's not cool. But, like, you should definitely play a sport. At least a sport. So DSA expects to receive a stack of 20-page to 40-page dossiers from chapters coast to coast, weighing in on who should carry the Democratic Socialist banner into 2028. I mean, this isn't even how this works, by the way. Like, I don't know if I believe this. Asking members to weigh findings to national leadership by September 15th. This isn't how it works usually, Yeah, free yourself from the chains of cringe and feel a little joy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, learning good sportsmanship, exactly. You can always tell people who didn't play sports growing up, too. Organization plans to hold national discussions, including with leaders like Zoran and Bernie, who's 84 and not expected to run, with a formal vote expected at the group's 27th convention next year. The leaders say they could move faster if the primary timeline demands it. We're going to be talking about millions of hours knocking doors for 2028, so when we decide to really run somebody, people have to feel like they had a say. Mamdani-backed candidates swept 3 closely watched New York congressional primaries Tuesday. Claire Valdez, Brad Lander, and Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier, all defeating more establishment-aligned rivals, including 2 incumbents. It was a major show of force for Mamdani's political operation and fresh evidence of the left's growing muscle heading into 2028. What do you mean Mamdani's organization? Elephant in the room is, of course, AOC. Yeah, I don't think she got the endorsement last time, right? The New York representative has yet to say whether she will run for president and has been rumored to be interested in running for the seat currently held by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Her name hangs over any serious conversations DSA leaders have about the race. Romer made clear that one of the country's best-known Democratic Socialists would need to go through the same process as any other candidates and would not automatically be handed a rose. She would have to sell her campaign and why DSA should throw down behind him, noting that means going to the group's 110,000 members and 250 chapters. 110 now? Because it was 100, and then it dropped off a little bit. Now you're saying it's 110? Relationship between DSA and Ocasio-Cortez has at times been complicated. After backing her insurgent 2018 bid, DSA National in 2024 briefly conditioned its re-election endorsement on several demands around her positions on Israel. That exposed a rift with NYC DSA, which had already endorsed her, and asked national leaders to withdraw their conditional backing. When asked directly whether DSA wants Ocasio-Cortez to run, Romer was careful not to get ahead of rank-and-file members for or against. If it reveals that every chapter is like, we want AOC, that's something that could come out of this process. And if that seems to be the overwhelming case, then that may be what we decide to do. We want to get it on the ground floor. It would be really great to be a day one part of a campaign. Who's this Romer? Megan Romer. Yeah, I want whoever. I want them to apply for the endorsement and determine who's got the best application. I don't like this. What survey are you going to send? My answer for the survey is going to be whoever wins the endorsement process. You know, like I want to back somebody, but I want that to be the person who is able to, you know, present their fucking campaign to us. You know, like I say I want Ro Khanna, but if he goes in for the endorsement and somebody else goes in for the endorsement and he doesn't get it and that other person does, then I want that other person, you know? Like, I think he would be the best, but like, you know, I don't want to be undemocratic about it. And then there's Mamdani. The New York City mayor went from complete unknown to one of the most popular and influential progressives in the country, boosting Democratic Socialism's political profile in a way not seen since Ocasio-Cortez's rise, and perhaps since Sanders' first presidential run. But Mamdani wasn't... This isn't actually true either. It was the 2020 run that really boosted the membership. I mean, if he answers the questionnaire and he gets the right answers and somebody else has the wrong answers, you know, I think enough members are going to pick the person who has the right answers. I mean, there's also the Electoral Working Group as well, which is who should be taking the lead on this. I don't know if that Romer girl is in the Electoral Working Group, but that's, you know, the Electoral Working Group picks their person and then they bring it to the larger chapter and say, this is who we want, you know. But Mamdani wasn't born in the US, making him constitutionally ineligible for the presidency. Some people are like, let's just run him. Let's just cause a constitutional crisis. Yeah, who is this nerd? Tuesday's wins in New York were the latest in a string of DSA victories accumulating across the country, including Chris Robb's primary win in Pennsylvania's 3rd District and mayoral races in Washington, D.C. and Seattle last fall. The group is backing Milad Kiros, first-time candidate, taking on a 30-year incumbent, Diana DeGette, in Colorado next week, as well as Oliver Larkin in Florida and former Rep. Cori Bush in her bid to reclaim the Missouri congressional seat she lost last cycle. It's a packed primary calendar that reflects just how aggressively DSA is looking to expand its footprint heading into 2028. Also, too, like, these are the way it's referring to it, like it's a fucking, you know, a centralized organization that has national leadership that does everything. It's not how it works. The different chapters do what they want, you know? So the sheer scale of what just happened in New York is historic, said Bhaskar Sankara. I don't know about that. Former DSA vice chair and president of the nation. Nationally, this is a massive boon for the Democratic Socialist movement. The old institutional left is hollowed out. DSA is proving to be the only real mobilizational force left on the ground. But Sankara noted the movement still had a lot to figure out ahead of 2028, especially if it's to translate its momentum beyond DSA's urban, heavily lefty strongholds. Moderate Democrats have long argued that Democratic Socialist candidates are a liability in competitive battleground seats, too far left to win over the voters the party needs in purple districts and red-leaning states. The national map includes deep red and rural districts where the left still has to figure out how to speak to working-class voters and compete. Having national platforms through multiple members of Congress is a start there, too. I mean, they're going to be at least as well situated to compete for seats as centrists are, right? Like, there's no, like, it's not like if a DSA guy can't win the race, then a Democrat wasn't going to win it either. Like, it's not like people don't, there's not a lot of voters who are like, oh, I wanted to vote for the Democrat, but like the DSA guy was too radical. I don't think those voters actually exist, you know, like, I think there's people who will not, you know, will not vote for anybody left-leaning, and then there's people who will, and the people who will want good left-leaning candidates. It's not like people don't prefer shitty centrist Democrats, right? They have politics that is like designed in a lab to be unpopular. You know, there's people who will vote for it when they think that's the only option, and then they're going to get a Republican otherwise. But there's not people who are like excited to go vote for fucking, you know, some centrist bullshit. If they win, cool. If they lose, F them, they're Nazis. Dude, also, they're trying to fucking, I don't believe any of those polls that they're putting out trying to pretend that, like, he's a liability. I think that's bullshit. I think they're cooked. Like, I don't think that, like, you know, what's her name? Mills would win and he won't, you know? I think if he loses, it's because there's too many chuds in the state, you know? I would vote for a Platner Jesse Ventura ticket, yeah, for sure. No, I mean, if it was fucking Platner, I would vote for him. Why not? You know, like, if he is in the Senate and doesn't do anything cringe, you know? DSA's leaders say the moment the group is having has been years in the making and comes after some recent turbulent times that followed 2018's emergence of the squad as a high water mark and then saw years of grinding setbacks, a pandemic that gutted in-person organizing, a Biden era that Romer described as a wet blanket, and a 2024 Kamala Harris campaign that didn't listen when DSA tried to push the candidates left. This is also incorrect framing of this, which makes me suspicious. Like, no, it was after Bernie in 2020. The energy from 2016 carried on to 2020, and when they cheated and fucked us in 2020, I think that's what was the setback. And then that segued right into COVID. But the COVID downturn, whatever, was not because of COVID per se, it was because of the Bernie campaign. Because a lot of people put in a lot of effort on that, and then they fucking stole it, right? Like, that, I think, disillusioned a lot of people. The squad dropped off a bit. 2022 was a really, really tough year for left politics. The 2024 cycle also brought losses for both Bush and Jamal Bowman, who was ousted in what was at the time the most expensive House primary in history, powered largely by AIPAC spending. Now the tide appears to be turning again. Looking ahead to 2028, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party wants to force a reckoning within the party it believes has spent years running from its own base while asking voters to settle for less. That's true. The best possible thing that could happen is having a string of victories in the midterms and forcibly reshaping the way the National Democratic Party approaches some of these issues and having a much larger presence in the Democratic primary, hopefully the presidential candidacy, said Hassan Piker, a prominent progressive Twitch streamer and one of the most influential voices in the Democratic Socialist movement, who campaigned heavily in New York for the full DSA slate. Tuesday's wins, he said, are a way to bring the party further to their side, turning far-left politics more mainstream. As for who he wants to see carry the socialist banner in 2028, Piker is still hoping for Ocasio-Cortez. That could change. 2028 is far out. That's what I got so far. Yeah. Dude. Fucking Hassan's gonna fuck this up. Damn it. Like, why would you say that? Because she goes on a stream? I mean, Ro Khanna goes on a stream. How do they not have a DSA tag? Dude. Kidding me? I fucking Politico, dude.